Part of me thought, oh, they're just going to say, God help us, one more meeting. We don't need this.
One of the things that I notice you do a lot is you hold regular meetings with your clients to review where they've got up to since you last met with them. And so it seems like there's an emphasis on strategy and execution and delivery.
Yeah, that's right. Look, the insight that we have is that lots of people will have their strategic retreat. Often they'll go away for a day or two once a year. They'll get the team together, and honestly, I think if you talk to anyone 3 weeks afterwards, they wouldn't be able to remember much of what they'd done, and potentially there'll be a large document shaped out of it. But strategy falls over a lot, and it's basically because it doesn't get rolled into any sort of disciplined execution. And so what we do in the retained coaching programs is, out of those 1 or 2 day annual retreats, is drive that down from a multi-year plan to an annual plan to a quarterly plan, and to a quarterly plan by individual leader. And then 3 months later, we're back checking in on that. How did the quarter go for the business, and how did we go individually with delivering on the accountabilities that we each took out of that meeting? And so that cadence rolls on each quarter, and monthly in between. Then I'm checking in with the most senior leader in a one-on-one coaching call, an executive coaching call with them, and I expect that they will be doing the same with their direct reports.
So how do you get buy-in for that? Like, because clients that engage with you say, "Hey, we'd love to bring you in to help us with our strategy." You'd have your retreat or your session or whatever, and then it's like, okay, now I'm going to come back in 3 months and I'm going to see how you're going according to that.
Yep.
That requires some buy-in, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, and the the interesting thing to me, to be honest, was how quickly people do buy into it. I part of me thought, oh, they're just going to say, God help us, one more meeting. We don't need this. Yeah. But the reality is, if you make those things very focused and functional, and they get results out of it, then they can let other less valuable parts of their meeting rhythms go. And in fact, a client recently told me that their daily huddles, for example, 12 to 15 minute meetings they've implemented, they implemented that at their busiest time of their year. And he said, I'm grateful that we did that, because we really needed that connection between each of us as leaders to make sure important things got done. And so for me, it's about making sure that they have these meetings that they've closely correlated with what their strategy is trying to achieve, that we've got a clear understanding of what the critical numbers are that they're trying to drive to in the business, and that those meetings are checking in on those things. And they, in that sense, provide an opportunity for course correction. It's like that idea of, if you're sailing from Australia to New Zealand, you're going to be on course hardly any of the time. You'll be buffeted by the wind and the waves, and you'll be darting left and right. But the reality is, if you've got the destination in mind and you're checking on that a lot, you can course correct. And so this is what this regular cadence of meetings helps people to do.
That's good. I like that. So if you were to take on a new client and they said, no, Rob, we just want you for this one meeting. We just need a bit of oversight and strategy. Is that someone you'd work with?
Yeah, look, there are a number of clients each year who do that. They want to either, because they want to check you out and see how you work, and so engage you for 1 or 2 days in the first instance, or that they have their own rhythms that they're comfortable with at the moment, that they just want to have a moment in time where they get their strategy set. I'll certainly work with some of those, but about 85% of my business is retained clients who realise through experience that they haven't had that discipline and rigour to have that accountability and focus and so on. And if to take your term, my wingman role there is to help bring them that discipline. And the other thing that it does, that I've had feedback from the clients on, is that with somebody outside their firm running it lets all of the leadership team, including the owner and founder, participate actively in that meeting, rather than one of them have to run it.